Derick Giwner back with Matt Rose for another big weekend of harness action. We have New York Sire Stakes finals at Batavia, Kentucky Sire Stakes finals on Sunday at the Red Mile. Mohawk has a big card of stakes action on Saturday night. We're going to stick with the New York Sire Stakes here. Matt's he loves the New York Sire Stakes, so we wanted to make him happy. They have a couple of $75,000 guaranteed pick fours on the Batavia card on Saturday that starts at 6 o'clock, one in race 3, one in race 7. We're going to take a look at a couple of the races from the late pick four, which starts in race 7. This is the 7th race, $225,000 New York Sire Stakes Colt pace final for the 2-year-olds. The heavy favorite is the 8 Groovy Joe, but that's not a post position that wins very often at Batavia.
No, obviously, first of all, it's very interesting that the New York United Champions, which is usually Yonkers Raceway, Batavia Downs hosting the festivities. I'm sure they're excited about it. They're going to do a great job. Big crowd on hand, I would imagine. I mean, we really don't. What is there to discuss about an 8-hole and a half-mile track? Nothing. It's a horrible spot to start in. But Groovy Joe is without a doubt the best horse in this race, most accomplished horse in this race. 9 for 7. He's made almost double of anyone else in the rest of the field here. And you know what? The more I looked at this race and the more I tried to beat him, try to be cute and try to find somebody to beat him, saying that the 8-hole is just going to kind of cancel out his best chances. I really can't find anyone else to beat him here. I think if Kakele's able to leave and make the front at all costs, or at least improve position a couple of spots, I don't know if he gets beat. We're not talking about a huge favorite here just because of the 8-hole. But he will be the favorite. He deserves to be the favorite, and I can't find anyone to beat him. I'll start with that. So what's your opinion?
Before we get to that, why don't we look at how he won last week?
Okay.
He faced one of the horses in here, well, a couple of them, but one of them being Cigars and Port is on the inside with Ray Schnicker's going to try to hold off the first over Groovy Joe, and he's not going to be able to do it.
We see Groovy Joe came uncovered at the half and was grinding, and just, once he straightens away, he just edges away from this field quite easily. Matt Kakele's pretty confident here. The margins of length, obviously, he could have. I imagine if he needed to, he could have gone faster than he did. But he took care of easily of horses that are in this race. And obviously he's not in line for, I guess, as easy a close-up trip. We just has to make one uncovered move. But I just think he's just the best. He's the best, and I'm not afraid of the 8-hole. And I'll just leave it at that.
One of the interesting things I thought out of that race, I mean, obviously Groovy Joe was the best in there and he won, but Cigars and Port didn't exactly give it up. He was still trying hard to the wire, and we are getting a driver change here from Schnicker to Jason Bartlett.
Yep.
Interesting that Ray puts up Jason. He usually likes to drive these himself.
Yeah, he's got 2 horses in here, the 4 and the 5, Splash Brother and Cigars and Port, and he has catch drivers on both of them. Tyler Butte is listed on Splash Brother, and Jason Bartlett, who had a choice of a couple others in here, including an Andrew Harris trainee, goes with the Ray Schnicker trainee, Cigars and Port. Granted, he was tiring late, but he can understandably give him an excuse for that. It wasn't the fastest last start at Tioga. But this horse has shown some versatility with Ray Schnicker driving. Certainly can't hurt with Jason Bartlett jumping in the bike. I would say if I had to lean towards a cold exacta, I would go with what we just watched in that race at Tioga, Groovy Joe managing to overcome the 8-hole, and Cigars and Port with the big driver change to Jason Bartlett, maybe second best. I'm also going to include the other Schnicker trainee, Splash Brother, with Tyler Butte, and I think those might be the 2 exactas I'm going to zero in on.
I mean, listen, do I think Groovy Joe's the best horse here? I think the 8-hole is going to be a problem because you have horses like Splash Brother, Cigars and Port, Sandy's Bolt. These horses all have big early speed, and any of them can, make it a little tough for that one. I think Freedom Warrior certainly got a shot if one, he stays on stride, which
I was going to say that.
And 2, finds room on the half-mile track. I mean, if he's buried in the 3-hole, it's really not going to do him much good. But I wouldn't be shocked if he won this race. I don't know. I just can't get myself to take what would probably be 4 to 5, 3 to 5 on Groovy Joe. I mean, do I think he's best? Yeah, but I think he's going to have to go a huge mile to win on a half-mile track. He might be uncovered quite a bit of the way, and I don't know. I'm not inclined to take it. I'm going to take a shot with Cigars and Port. I was between Splash Brother and Cigars and Port, the 2 Ray Schnicker trainees. So Splash Brother hasn't won yet this year.
Right.
You know, he hasn't shown me that he can do it yet. At least Cigars Import has the drop. I think it's enough there to, you know what, maybe the horse can get to the top and, you know, Groovy does park the mile.
Well, you know what? We mentioned Freedom Warrior with a bunch of breaks on his program. I imagine Jim Morrill Jr., who's drove last week when the horse broke, has to be cautious here. Maybe has to back off a little bit early, allowing other horses to find a position. Save Me a Dance. The 3 horse hasn't shown that much speed. I can see the 6 or the 7 getting in Groovy Joe's way when Matt Kikeli obviously is going to be forwardly placed off the gate. It's a question of if how hard does Sandy's Bolt push off. Only 4 starts in his career. I think obviously he has speed and talent. I think he has to show a little bit more, step up his game, show a little bit more late in order to beat these. I don't think tonight is the night. But it's a question of Splash Brother and Cigars Import leaving. Can your pick, Cigars Import with Bartlett, hit the front end? I don't know. It remains to be seen. I'm just going to take a chance that Groovy Joe's going to run him down. And like I said, the 2 Schnicker horses underneath, I can't trust Freedom Warrior. I just think Sandy's Bolt's going to be lacking a little bit late. And Save Me a Dance has kind of tailed off a little bit as I fix my earpiece so I can I don't want to miss a word you're saying, Derick, even though you're not talking. But I'll let you talk right now. I got to go with Groovy Joe over the 2 Schnicker.
Hard for me to get a word in otherwise if you don't stop talking. But
I'm done talking. Fire away.
Race number 7, Batavia. Matt's going with Groovy Joe, the favorite. I'm going to go with the 5, Cigars Import. And we're going to go to the other end of the $7,500
yes.
With race number 10, it's the concluding leg. Chimpanzee is actually in that sequence, so it gives you a horse to key if you don't want to key Groovy Joe, or maybe Hick from French Lick in this race, who's the 8-5 morning line favorite, and could be close to 3-5 or 2-5 come post time the way he's been racing.
Yeah, I was going to say probably more like 1-5. You give me any scenario where Hick from French Lick doesn't cut this mile and win this race. I mean, is there any scenario where it doesn't shake out that way?
I have one thought on that, and but we're going to take a look at Hick from French Lick winning the Empire Breeders' Classic first. You're going to see Shake the House on the outside, and Shake that House in the stretch gets into a little bit of trouble in the stretch. You'll notice coming up soon, but he really wasn't going by Hick from French Lick.
Yeah, Hick from French Lick's already stepping away here by the time that Shake That House gets a little fumbly. And listen, Hick from French Lick cut the mile, cut a decent clip, and he's powering away in a 48 and change mile. Followed it up with an easy score last start of Yonkers in the final Sire Stakes preliminary in a race that was off the card because he was going to be such a heavy favorite. I mean, I know I picked Groovy Joe in the other race we discussed as a favorite. I don't see any scenario where Hick from French Lick, if he doesn't bring 90% of his game, I don't see any scenario where he doesn't just cut this mile and I don't want to say sprint away from these, but obviously hold sway easily over these. I can't see it. I can't see it.
Do you think he's that much the best of this field that he deserves to be 1-5 in this field?
He is the best here. He's clearly the most accomplished. I shouldn't say the most accomplished because Shake That House has had a great season, but this is a half-mile track. I know we mentioned how Batavia, we mentioned how the 8-hole is horrible. Well, you know what? The rail is
I think the
awesome.
rail is 29% winning percentage.
You know what? This all comes down to a tactical advantage. Hick from the French Lick is going to have to be run down at some point during this race. And Shake That House, if he's not in a pocket, he might be first up again. I see Hick from French Lick maybe raiding or stealing a middle half somewhere and having plenty to hold sway at 1-5, which leads me to have to come up with, let's say, a cold exactor, or which unfortunately, no disrespect to the 6, 7, and 8 Major March reigning Deo, roll with Papa Joe, but hard to see any of them get involved underneath. I see Hick from French Lick drawing away or holding sway, and whoever the trip sitter is running second. And who do you think that's going to be?
Well, here are my 2 scenarios. You asked me for scenarios where he could get beat. My 2 scenarios are, the first one's more unlikely. Art Is Ideal somehow gets away in the pocket, and from that pocket he has a shot to get him, late in the stretch. That's scenario number 1.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen because I don't see Major Blake letting him get around. And I really think that Brian Sears is going to gun out with Shake That House in this spot. So that's my second scenario. Shake that house, guns to the front, Hick from French lick, lets him go, retakes, shake that house, sits the pocket, and gets him late.
So you're going with a slight upset, shake that house over Hick from French Lick. I'm going to go with just what makes more sense tactically, which was Hick from French Lick on top of shake that house in, let's say, a cold exacta. I'm going to play a couple of tries. I'm going to try to sneak Buddy Hill into the try. He hasn't been bad this year, but he hasn't been great this year. I just think he has more to offer. Maybe he saves ground. Major Blake or Artie's Ideal both have speed, but depending on what Brian Sears if he leaves and is able to angle over and the one retakes, that leaves the 2 and the 3 in a 3 and a 4 hole. One or both of them might end up pulling, and neither one of them really shown the ability to take a heck of a lot of air. Maybe Major Blake a little bit, but maybe Buddy Hill sneaks in and spices up the try. But I'm going to go the opposite of you, a cold exacta, Hick for French Lick, over shake that house.
See, I don't see any need to play the exacta because, quite frankly, I think if you're going to play shake that house, you're probably going to get, $6 or $7. And if you're going to play the shake that house over Hick from French Lick exacta, you're probably going to get $8 or $9. It's not going to be that much of a difference. I think you're better off just playing to win. If you're going to try shake that house, I think he's capable of pulling off the upset. I think it's better than taking the 1-5 shot. So I'll go with shake that house. And we'll have all the live action on DRF. You can watch drf.com/harness. You click on Harness Live at the top, and you can watch all the races. And we'll also have free PPs for Harness Eye. Until then, good luck.